everybody. Welcome back. It's another Recovery Wednesday. Candy's recovering. Candy has a sore throat and maybe bronchitis and can't talk because she's been so active with the events lately that I think she just got thrown down to take a break. So I'll be doing the show myself today. If you want to call, well, we can't call in yet because I don't have the number. But if you want to chat, ask questions about sobriety, your own life, your family, what's coming up for the holidays, this is the time to do it because this particular episode is called Staying Safe and Sober Over the Holidays. For those of you that don't know, I am over 38 years sober. That means no drugs, no alcohol for 38 years. A day at a time. That doesn't mean I haven't taken drugs for medication or pain when I had over 12 surgeries during that time, or if I was on some type of medical need for whatever I was going through. Of course, prescriptions are there, and a lot of people do get addicted to prescriptions. I was addicted to diet pills as I think I was 13 when I was put on diet pills because I was a chubby little kid with a pretty face, but I'm still chubby and I've got an old face now. But pills, pot, cigarettes, alcohol, sugar, carbs, gambling, porn, shopping, etc., 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 are addictions. If you keep going over and over and over and over, doing the same thing over and over again, you can't stop on your own. You're addicted probably, and you may need some help in breaking that addiction. Most of us will be in denial. Most of us will say, I don't have a problem. I can stop anytime. I can quit anytime. Yeah, well, then why haven't you? Why are you still doing something that's not healthy? And they don't have an answer because they know that the truth is they can't stop on their own. You can go for a few days, few weeks, and then fall back on what they call get off the wagon or whatever. If you don't have the right support system, the beauty of 12-step programs is that there is a support system for everybody in any context, whether it's emotions, whether it's religion, whether it's substance. They have Al-Anon for people who are in recovery from living with or being related to a person who's the addict, the user, the abuser, whatever. Everybody's life gets upset. We're coming into the holidays, and it's a very uncomfortable time for many. It's a very stressful time for many. And as we know, not everybody's nice, not everybody's kind, and everybody's moaning and bitching and groaning and, oh, I got to see Susie and I don't want to go see my Uncle Fred or whatever is going on. There's tension, there's betrayal, there's backstabbing, there's discomfort. And then once in a while you find a family, a group of people, friends, whatever, and it actually works. They get along, they make a meal, they sing songs, they go for walks. Some little towns or communities even have like a Santa and a parade going through neighborhoods. Everybody celebrates differently. But when it comes to one-on-one interaction, especially in certain dysfunctional families, it gets tense. There may be one that's always drinking, one that's just sitting in the corner eating, one that is sitting in another room just reading to avoid conflict or interaction. They don't want to communicate. They're too self-absorbed. They're too withdrawn. So they'll be reading books, scripts, papers, magazines, anything to avoid intimate contact. That is also part of the ism, I, self, me. They may look great on the outside, but they still have stuff going on the inside to be addressed. We all do. There's nobody that's immune. I'm not saying I'm any better than you or not. It's just that after a while, I would say I used and drank for about 19 years of my life. I got loaded the first time when I was 14, almost 15. And I started smoking cigarettes when I was 13 or 14. I can't even remember now. It's so long ago. No, I'm wrong. I started diet pills at 13. So that was 1967 or 68. And then I started smoking cigarettes, I think that summer, right after junior high graduation in 1968. So I got into high school real thin, but smoking cigarettes. And then that was in September. And then by December of 1968, I had the hit off my first joint. And there I went. I went off. I loved feeling different and high. But as I've said before, I made a lot of mistakes. And in retrospect, would I do it again if I had a choice? No. No, I would have stayed true to myself. I would have stayed true to my soul. I would have stayed true to my talent, my gifts, and I would have said screw it to everybody else of peer pressure, because most of us come involved with peer pressure. And that's the same thing at the dinner table at the holiday time. There's peer pressure. If you're sober, don't want to drink or don't want to eat the cake or the pie or the bread or the stuffing or whatever they're serving that you don't like, you don't have to please that cook or that host and hostess just to be at the table. You can say, no, I don't eat that, or no, I'm not in the mood for that, or no, it doesn't agree with me. And you know what? It doesn't matter if you hurt their feelings. It doesn't matter. We can't please everybody. People like us are people pleasers. We want everybody to like us. We want everybody to understand us. We want everybody to hear us. We want everybody to do things for us. But it doesn't work that way. We're in Hanukkah right now, at the tail end of Hanukkah. We're coming into Christmas in less than 2 weeks. Then, of course, we have New Year's. So what do you do on New Year's? Most people go out and celebrate. Celebrate what? You're in a bar, you're in a restaurant, you're at a house, you're at a hotel, you're somewhere, or sometimes you're at home just watching TV. Misty's going to go visit families, so it's going to be uncomfortable. Should people opt? No, do not opt going out. That's what this show is going to be about in a few minutes when I get through all of the monologue or the introduction, because it's the test and your strength, and you get to be the adult among all these grown-up children that claim to be adults. So, Misty, if it's uncomfortable, you don't have to sit in the corner in a big chair with a book, and you don't have to isolate, but you get to be pleasant, and you get to say, hi, Uncle Joe, how are you? And hi, Aunt Susie, how are you? And oh, Grandma, this is great. Or wherever you're going, and brothers and sisters that may have a lot of tension, and we don't always get along. There are families like TV, and they all love each other and hug each other, and they know each other's stories, and they're there for each other. And then you got families like mine that are so spread out, nobody talks. I mean, I call my dad. I see him twice a month if I can. My sister and I text once in a while. I got another sister, I think I talk to her once every 5 years. It's just sad. I try to bring everybody together. My mother was that way. She wanted to always bring the relatives together, and nobody did. So I take after my mom in unity for family, because I love family. It's just like she used to say, you can pick your friends, but it's not your family. And that's very true. So when you're in an uncomfortable situation, you don't have to right away grab the wine or the booze or whatever, the food or whatever, to shove it all down so you don't have to feel the uncomfortable feelings. So, Misty, if you're going to be in a difficult situation, just tell yourself, or even go and say, okay, God, I don't know how to behave here, but I don't want to cause a scene, and I don't want to be involved with drama. And just put light around you, walk in with a smile. Hi, how are you? Take a gift or some food or a pie or whatever you bring as an offering as a guest. And you don't have to talk. You don't have to engage. You can say hello, be pleasant, look around. You might find one person to talk to, move to the next, and then you might just go sit and play on your phone. But you're there, and then you can be the one that can say, hi, how are you? What's new? And if nobody wants to interact, that's not up to you. That's their issue. That's them. If you don't collaborate, you don't get along, you're not coordinated with them, and you're not compatible, it's part of life, and you just happen to be invited. But by not going, it says a statement that you're more of a coward. It's not so much about not going because you're uncomfortable. Candy would probably say, don't go. Candy and I don't agree on everything. That's why there's two people doing this show. I personally think you show up, and you have the choice to stay or leave early. Or you can stay, have the meal, thank the host and hostess, leave. Or see if somebody really needs something. Maybe you're the light. Maybe somebody's even more depressed or fearful about being there than you are, and you're the one that has something nice to say that helps enlighten their moment. Maybe they're uncomfortable being in that family or that arrangement, that party, that gathering. It's not just about you. Make it about everybody. I told you the other day, I did a gratefully, I was asked to give a eulogy for a very big celebrity in the music industry. And I had said that I was in broadcasting for 30 years, and these were all music people. Well, a lot of them. And I said, broadcasting is broad. You're talking to everybody, not just single casting. So it's the same thing. If you're going to a party or an event and you're uncomfortable, you go to the person who invited you, because that person has you on their mind. Everybody else If they're judgmental, backstabbing, cursing, dramatic, whatever, that's their problem. If you know what to expect most of the time with these people, then you don't have anything that's not going to happen that you're not expecting, because you know what to expect and you know what your time frame might be. You might get there just in time to eat, maybe spend an extra half hour there, and then check your watch, and just before they bring dessert, leave. You don't have to have pie all the time. Should the gathering host invite people who they think may be uneasy with others? That's they don't always have a choice, country, because they want to include the family or the friends or whoever, but to be secular and to not invite certain people. Some hosts will deliberately not bring in somebody knowing willingly that they're going to cause havoc or upset or an argument or drink too much. If they have a history or a pattern of ill behavior that's embarrassing or uncomfortable, the host and hostess have a choice to not invite them. It's rude, it's insensitive, and at the same time, it sends a message. I understand that personally, and I understand that a lot of people are not forgiving, and I understand that a lot of people think they're doesn't smell and they're better than them. They have no spiritual balance. So I don't think it's always right to not invite somebody, but if the judgment is too intense, then stay away. You don't need the toxicity. You don't need to do it to yourself. If you don't want to go to Jane's house for the holidays, then don't go. Just, you don't feel like going, I'm so sorry, I can't make it this year. Well, why? What's wrong? Make up an excuse or just say, well, I know a few people are going to be there and I'm not comfortable. And I'm sorry. It's not about you. It's how I'm feeling. And that's how you handle it as well. You talk for yourself. If you don't want to go, don't go. If you're the host and hostess and you think about who you're going to invite, then let them know. I have a problem. I'm having a party in January, and I had the same issue with my sister. I texted her. She said, what do you want? I said, well, I'm having a problem because she and I don't really get along, nor do her husband or daughter speak to me. I said, I'm having a party for my 70th birthday, but the way you treat me like scum, I don't know if I should invite you, even though you're my sister. And I told her the truth. She treats me like crap. I said, the rest of this is also the day before speaking in front of 300 people or whatever it was at the memorial the other day for George Brown from Kool and the Gang. If you want to look it up, George Brown, Kool and the Gang, that's who I was lovingly, pridefully, honored, and humbly asked to do a memorial service for. But it still chokes me up that he's gone. And he was just there. Look who's here. Looks like he just pulled in off a truck. How you doing? Hi. How you doing? We're both wearing little beanies today. I'm just talking about George Brown's eulogy and all the people the other day, where the world will accept me, but my own sister doesn't. And we're talking about what's it like staying safe and sober over the holidays, because a lot of people have a lot of anxiety, or they have dysfunctional families, as you know, and it may not be comfortable to plug in or show up. So I was just giving a sample of what happened to me over this weekend.
Also, the highest depression rate and highest suicide rate of any other time of years.
It's Christmas.
Not that jolly.
No, it's not. A lot of people get sad. A lot of people get depressed. A lot of people do start drinking more, smoking more, getting loaded more, eating more, whatever, because of the old emotions from childhood. We're re-experiencing the fantasy or what we think we're missing after 50, 60, 40 years of life. When we were kids, it was one thing. As an adult, it's another. And if you're lucky, like you've got how many kids and you're with your daughter, I mean, some people, they have a family. Some people don't get along.
And sometimes that's good, and sometimes it's bad, though, because there's drama and
it's always drama. I just mentioned that a little bit ago. Yeah,
especially when you have 4 kids and 8 grandkids, you cannot avoid drama in the holidays.
Really? Okay.
Speaking of which, anytime during your show, my grandkids could come up here.
That's fine. They'll say hi.
I'll be out of here because you won't want them on the show.
Maybe not. But, like my own sister, I was just saying, and I'm not afraid to air dirty laundry. I don't talk to my brother-in-law, let alone my snotty little niece, for years. And I have done nothing but be kind or make amends. But these are the type of people that are too good for everybody. And if you don't fit, you don't fit. So I said, I'm having a party, which you know about. And I'm on the fence about inviting them. She goes, no, Dom, no, we're not coming. I'm like, fine. I'll take you to lunch or dinner. Whoopie-doo. That's not it. I'm turning 70. I wanted my family there. My dad, his girlfriend, his caregiver will be there. Great. I've got a house full of people coming. Everybody but my sister. It's like the rest of the world approves of me, but not my sister. And that's similar to what's going on about staying safe and sober at the holidays, because people's buttons, emotions get pushed, whether it's going to an event, a dinner, a holiday party. If it's some people want to know, should they not invite people? Should the host be more cautious about who they invite when they're mixing groups of people? Or do you have the option to say, no, I'm not coming? All of it's true. But I am in the belief to show up, be the adult, be the forgiving spiritual one, make nice. If you don't want to stay, eat, leave. Don't even eat. Just say hello. Come afterwards for dessert. Just say hello, and you be the brave.
And sometimes it's better that they don't come.
Exactly. Depending on the fire, they may be walking.
A lot of people, they drink just during going over families for the holidays, as an example.
And that's the whole topic of the show. Like, if you're sober, you don't want to fall into that whole party scene or avoidance scene. It's like sitting and reading a book, or sitting on the computer, or sitting with a glass of something just to get loaded, or to smoke something just to get loaded, or to chain smoke just to stay away. It's to not interact with the humans. It's that shield. So if you're that uncomfortable, don't go. People who are new in sobriety, there are 24-hour day hotlines, meetings, groups, parties. So nobody who's in sobriety or 12-step or getting sober is ever alone. There's things online, meetings online. There's outreach calls. There's plenty of meetings in person around the country. If you feel that uncomfortable about going to someone's home, whether it's a relative or a friend, and it really makes it more uncomfortable than to show up to be nice, then don't go. There's no rule. There's no rule. But I was saying earlier that they were invited because they were on that host's mind. They mean something to that person. So if it's not that traumatic to show up, then take some time.
I find nowadays anyway that people don't feel obligated to go to family for holidays. In fact, it's quite the opposite, like nowadays. So yeah, if somebody is going to choose between a meeting and family that could cause them drama to drink,
or
they're
get
going to have
loaded,
a
or
lot
something,
more fun at the meeting,
where they're more accepted and they're more unconditionally loved, and they're with like-minded people that understand the feelings and the sensitivity, and you have the choice. I personally show up. I am sober, but I still show up. That doesn't mean I get along with everybody that's there. I just show up because that's who I am. Everybody has their own free will. Everybody has their own choice. If you feel like you're going into the fire, go where the peace is.
You're right about the childhood things, and I think people don't think about that. But even as an example, myself, I'm the ultimate optimist. There's only 2 times of the year that I may get in a down mood, and that's the holidays and my birthday.
It's a significant timeline. Birthdays
that
are
comes
depressing.
From childhood for sure.
It would be nice if someone reached out to you. Maybe the olive branch could be held at the time to build a better healing. I've tried for 65 years. My sister could give a shit. That's just my sister. She's been like this for
and it depends on the situation. Because listen, most siblings, once they become adults,
we go our separate way.
They're very different people. If they weren't your siblings, you probably would never associate with them.
That's true. My sister changed when she married this guy, and she became a different person.
And that happens too.
And I called her on it.
But there's so many different like I have 4 kids. They're all completely different. I have multiple siblings, all completely different. But there is something to be said about, I always teach my kids, either accept people for who they are or don't. And I have 2 siblings I will probably never talk to again in my life. And I have 2 that I do that would I say they're people I would hang out with if they weren't my sibling? No, not at all. And there's degrees of what that situation is with your siblings that make it whether you would do that or not. I mean, fact of the matter is, my whole life, my pseudo families were always more of a family, and I'm one of those people. I don't believe blood means family. Family.
My mom used. I said that
what
earlier
somebody
before you got here.
means.
Yeah, that you can choose your friends, but not your family. But getting back to the topic, especially for those who are sober, especially those who haven't had a drink of drugs, sugar, flour, cigarettes, whatever their substance has been. If they feel they're going to be tantalized or tempted, then no, don't go. If they don't have a strong enough foundation or connection, and they need someone to walk them through it, there's phone calls. I remember when I was in my early sobriety and I had issues of having to go to a family issue event. I remember calling my sponsor at the time, so I'm a little nervous. I just want to say hello, and this is how I'm feeling. Because it's always down to how we feel about things, but we don't have to drown it in alcohol. We don't have to drown it in pot or acid or cocaine or meth or whatever people are doing. We don't have to
there's
be
the
addicted.
other part of it, too, is like if you go to a meeting, and I'm not somebody, like I'm not an alcoholic, so I don't go to AA. But I know many people that go to it. And the fact of the matter is if you go to a meeting, nobody's going to pressure you into doing drugs or alcohol.
No.
But guaranteed, forget if you have a problem on your own with it because of how you're feeling. You know what? That's the crappy part about people sometimes is like in a situation like that, they're going to like peer pressure you no matter what age you are, and like, oh, what's the big deal?
Yeah, what's the big deal? You've not one won't hurt.
Sip.
They don't understand the addiction.
Yeah, one
they don't
sip.
understand.
Just do the cheers, will you? Like, I'm somebody that I rarely ever drink, and I don't have a problem. That's not why I rarely drink. I just don't like it. Never did. But everybody I ever associate with either assumes I have a problem or B, like tries to peer pressure me to drink. Like,
exactly.
Why, if I don't want to, who cares? Like,
well, that's
why
just it. That's what I was saying earlier before you got here. I was talking about people pleasing, and it's the pressure of society that makes people think you got to take the joint, take the drink, take the bite of the cake. I made the cake for you, and then you get guilt tripped. I've been off sugar and flour. It's going to be 11 years, February 13th. That's a long time without putting sugar in my body. And no, I don't want to bite. Yes, it looks good. It smells good. Okay, no, I'm not missing anything, but I don't want the repercussions of what happens to me with insulin and sugar. And it's the same thing with alcohol. I was not a down and out drunk. I would party on the weekends, go to the clubs like everybody else. And the reason I decided to get sober was after I stopped taking diet pills. I had a geyser of emotion come up. I didn't realize that there was a chemical addiction from the time of 13 to 24. You didn't talk about it back in the 70s. You just did it. Then came the cigarettes, not knowing, like you've and I have talked, there's this withdrawal. There was no help back then. But then I realized my friends are getting married. My life's a little imbalanced. I don't want to do the club scene anymore. What's going on? All right, I'm just going to get sober. I was tired of feeling awful. I didn't feel good. So, of course, being in health, I wanted to heal it. The real down and out addicts who are in recovery in the homes, who can't get sober, who can't put down the needle, who can't put down the bottle, who can't put down even the food, the M&Ms, the pies, the hamburgers. There are compulsive behaviors that are beyond control as a result of the biochemical makeup and genes in a human that we need help, which is why all these programs are there. I'm talking about staying safe and sober over the holidays, that if you're tempted by the desserts or tempted by the food or tempted by the alcohol or tempted by the drugs they're passing around, say no. And if they tempt you or backstab you or try to coerce you, just like Dean was mentioning, it's none of their business. If anything, they're the ones with the problem because you're staying more spiritually grounded, more emotionally aware. And if you watch people get loaded and drink in a bar, if you start like at 8 or 9 o'clock at night, by midnight, these people are hanging over and they're all like this. And it's not attractive. It's really not attractive when you see people really out of it. And then you see people at the dinner table kind of fading. It gets kind of weird. So the good part about staying sober is you get to watch the movie. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I've always watched the movie. and it is not a good movie. And
Not always.
maybe those movies are what should be filmed so people see what other people see. Because what also happens in holiday get-togethers,
Anger.
people get more drunk. They do it in front of their kids. The kids have to deal with it. It's not so hidden, and it gets bad because people can't deal.
Well, they're seeing another side that they didn't expect to see. The children are seeing a side they never saw or expect to see of mom and dad that they don't understand. And then the parents might have to make an excuse. But so that's what happens with the family. But I'm talking also about the person who doesn't want the temptation or feels uncomfortable.
Well, yeah. I mean,
the food or the drugs and the alcohol. It's
I've
hard.
experienced it myself as somebody that doesn't have a drinking problem. It's like, even as an example, let's say you go out on a dinner date with somebody. It's like they make you feel bad because they want to have a glass of wine. So have a glass of wine.
I don't care.
I don't want a glass of wine. Why do I have to have a glass of wine? Because you want one.
Right.
If you order a water, oh, God forbid, like you're ruining their time, and the same holds true during the holidays at family get-togethers.
You can have water, sparkling water. You can have non-alcoholic drinks if you don't want to have alcohol. If somebody's passing a joint, you don't have to take a toke off the joint. If they're passing around cocaine, you don't have to toot the coke. You can just watch these people do what we say their disease. They're actively participating in the disease of alcoholism, which is the addiction. The average person is not going to do all of that at a family gathering unless that family is more liberal, hippie, loose, and addictions is in the normal everyday living. But the average person is not going to be exposed to that kind of.
No, but they might sneak in the bathroom to do a couple.
The bathroom, the bedroom, close the door, go to the den, go outside to the car, and then come back in, and all of a sudden they're either higher than a kite or they're happy all of a sudden where they were quiet before, or you can smell the alcohol and they talk to you, just hits you in the face like, hi, and it's like, it's not pleasant when you see the other side. Well, here's
the problem I see as well is because the parents are all getting high, drunk, or whatever during the holidays, they're oblivious, and that's when kids normally start drinking and doing drugs at
because they see their parents.
They see everybody else doing it, and they do it because nobody's noticing they didn't do it.
Or they think it's cool.
I've been in situations where I've said the kid is high, and the parents like, you're out of your mind. You don't know what you're talking about. Well, you were high. How would you know? But I'm telling you right now, that kid was high because they found your stuff.
Yeah, and that's the denial of the adult or the parent who doesn't think they have a problem to begin with because they can handle their booze or handle their drugs or whatever. But the person who is sober, whether it's 1 day sober or 39 years sober, there is still the temptation, or there's still the question, or there's still the option that can be a little intimidating to many people. I often feel like the oddball, but then when I'm out of a social situation that is pretty dominated by alcohol, drugs, whatever, if it's a music thing or whatever, I just am glad to leave and go back to my own little world because I don't need what I think I'm missing out there. I have done the work to improve me as a human being, clean up my soul, integrate the emotional growth. And that's what it's all about, because you know as well as I do, because you've told your story, when you stop abusing alcohol and drugs, whether you're periodic, like I was, or if you're down and out, addicted to the point you need so much help. And then there's people I know that spent 50 different rehab times before he found it. One guy said, if I'm so willing to die, why aren't I willing to live? It took him 54 rehabs to figure it out. And that was a music guy. Maybe I'll get him on the show sometime. But, we can't always control our emotions or our thoughts. The thought will say, well, I can have just one, right? I can have a chocolate chip cookie. I can have a piece of mince pie. I can have a roll at dinner. I can have the cranberry sauce. People with food addictions like me, no, I can't have that sugar or carb. It will set me off on a roll I don't want to, no pun intended, where I don't want to go. And I get the same reaction with food I got with cigarettes, that I got with alcohol, that I got with drugs. It's all encompassing with the body. What I'm trying to help the people out there who listen or watch understand is when you understand your sensitivities to the substance And Dean's had his experiences with substances, and he's talked about it on other shows. There is a phase where when you're cleaning up or detoxing or healing, it's emotional. It's painful. It's confusing. And then all of a sudden the pendulum swings and your life opens up. You can go from God to God and God to God. You're the balance.
And what about the fact of people that there's certain acceptable things like, I'm a firm believer caffeine's one of the worst drugs because everybody thinks it's okay. There's a reason they replaced cocaine with caffeine in Coca-Cola, because it does a lot of the same things and is as highly addictive, things like that. Or even the fact of, we're talking about food. I mean, quitting sugar and carbs is like quitting crack and heroin.
It is, and it took a long time to come off it. And on one of the other shows where I talk about detox, it's kind of the same thing here. When you stop eating sugar, you get a headache, just like you do if you're detoxing or coming down off a bender from drinking. The headache. Why? Alcohol metabolizes, it's a carbohydrate, metabolizes the sugar in the bloodstream. Same thing with food. There's parasites in our body. The parasites start looking for the sugar when we're detoxing or not eating, and it causes the headache. It's not just neurological, it's parasitical. So the little parasites are going, where's the candy bar? Where's the donut? Where's whatever? And it starts to act up and it hits and we get a headache as we're detoxing because the activity going on within our gut. Remember, most disease starts in the gut. I just want people to be safe, happy, healthy over the holidays. I want people to do the best they can. You don't want to go to an event, don't go. You're invited, be grateful, thank the hostess. If you show up, be nice. If there's too many people pushing buttons, like, okay, I've got another place to go. Maybe you're just going to go home, but make it sound like you've got 3 other invitations, And if somebody invites you, I've been invited and I'll say, well, maybe, and I'll let you know. And after I'm done with one event, like Thanksgiving, I had one place to go. And someone else invited me, but I was too tired and I really didn't want to be on around a group of people I really didn't know except the host. So I said, no, I can't come. People go, okay, yes, for 20 minutes, you're going to think, oh, that's too bad. I would have liked to see them. Life goes on, folks. Life is too short.
I hear grandkids coming in.
Okay, Dean, you have a happy Hanukkah. We got one more night. 2 more nights on Hanukkah.
Tonight and tomorrow night. What's up? What's up, kids?
Daddy, we're gonna have to go to basketball next.
You're on TV.
Wait, what?
Yeah, you were just on TV.
Hi.
Am I on TV?
Well, you would have to come over here to be on TV.
Hi.
What?
What's your name? Hi.
Giselle.
Hi, my name is
Giselle.
Brandon.
Hi, Brendan. How are you? You having fun with your grandpa?
Ranzel and John.
Oh, Ranzel. Sorry, I couldn't hear it. So, are you having fun with your grandpa visiting?
Yeah.
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 He's a good guy.
Holiday coming up.
Yeah, with the holiday. He's there for you because he loves you.
Yeah,
You have a good time.
and we love him, and I'm his best buddy.
You are his best buddy. Well, then go take him off this camera and go play with him, okay? You have a good time, Grandpa.
All righty. And it's Zadie to you because it's Zadie to them.
Zadie. Okay, Zadie. And for those that don't know, Zadie is Hebrew for Grandpa. Yiddish.
Actually, I found out something just recently.
Yeah?
It's actually, I think, Yiddish and not Hebrew.
I think it is Yiddish. I
thought it was Hebrew my whole life, and an Israeli corrected me recently.
Oh, okay. So, Zadie, get going. We'll see you later.
Have
Thanks.
a beautiful show, and you're doing great for people out there.
Thank you, Dean. Love being
Bye.
here. Bye. Go blue.
Bye.
See you later. Happy Hanukkah.
You have a happy Hanukkah too.
I am.
Me too.
Yeah, you're lighting the candles, right?
Yeah, I lit the candles last night.
Oh, cool. You got 2 more
So
nights
did
to
my
go.
sister. We used the lighter, and then we took one of the candles and.
Yeah, and you light the next one and the next one and the next one. One candle lights the next, and you go right to left instead of left to right. You go backwards because it's Hebrew, right?
That's right.
Go. Okay, thanks for stopping in. All right.
My favorite.
Have a great show. Okay,
Lays.
she's got to go
Okay,
back
enjoy
to
your
the show.
potato chips. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye, Dean. Bye, the pipe man. That's Dean. He owns the station, the network here, and I've known him for several years. And He obviously came back to do the shows here. But all in all, it's your choice. I personally just like to show up. I like to be there and be bigger than and walk through the snobs because there's a lot of them and there's a lot of chills and you feel uncomfortable. But then you get to see what doesn't work for your soul. You get to see what works for your personality. You get to see where you blend in and where you don't. Not everybody fits. That's why there's tons of different personalities out there. You find what works for you. With me, I love being around sober people. I love being clear. I love how people are achieving goals. We talk about fashion. We talk about sports. We talk about college. We talk about travel. I'm going to Washington, D.C. next week. I think next week we'll have 3 shows of replays because I'm not going to be on the air. But you'll see some repeats of some of the shows that you really like. I'm taking a vacation finally. And since I love cold weather, I go from California into the cold weather as opposed to people who are in cold weather come out west. I miss the cold weather. It's a nice change. And I want to see Washington, D.C. all decorated for Christmas. So, you have a choice. You don't want to be around the high-end people who are bragging about whatever while they're drinking and getting loaded and then slurring and everything. Or you just say, that's really nice to see, Dave. I'm glad to hear it, blah, blah, blah. And you move on to the next. You just pick a little bit. You're either going to get along, you're going to connect, or you're not. It's not going to kill you. But I'm more and more sensitive as I get older to we don't know how many more holidays we have ahead of us because we're getting older. I just buried one of my best friends. And it's not the first. I think I've lost 5 people this year, but this one was special. And my friend Jeannie, who was also, she would be 38 years sober tomorrow, actually, because we were 2 months apart. She passed away from cancer and heart disease earlier this summer. And I visited her at the hospital just before she passed. And I've known her since 1985. We all have people that are no longer here. My mom's gone 14 years. You've had parents, friends, loved ones, spouses, siblings, relatives pass. We're still here. As long as we're here, let's appreciate what we have, regardless of the drama. Okay, so I'm not going to hang out with my sister and brother-in-law. What am I missing? I don't know. Maybe I'm not. I think I'm having a good time on my own. And do I get lonely at times? Of course I do, but I always have a friend or I have a place to go. If it's not personal, then I can always go to a meeting and be with people of like-minded thinking. I've learned through time to appreciate being alone. I can be alone. I don't have to be drinking. I don't have to be getting loaded. I don't have to be smoking packs of cigarettes. I don't have to be binging on food. I can just call someone, write something, or watch TV and do nothing because I work so hard during the week. By the end of the day, I don't want to do anything. I don't want my brain on. I just want to relax because I'm helping people day in and day out. And that's also becoming of service once you get sober. I became more of a helper, even though I was always a helper, but I became more so because I wasn't so wrapped up in my own stuff. The beauty of getting sober, and one of the things they teach is to become of service, to help another person walk the journey, because there's fear, there's anxiety, there's depression, like Dean was saying, especially at the holidays. This is probably one of the first years I can honestly say I haven't been as depressed or low in my thoughts around the holidays, because right after the holidays is my birthday. So I usually start to go downhill with my thinking from Halloween to Thanksgiving to Hanukkah, Christmas, which coincide at the same time of year, and then getting into New Year's, and then it's my birthday, and then it's all over. And then I can finally get on with my life. But this year, because I've done so many more changes, and I've grown and taken on new opportunities, and my attitude and the healing I've done, this year is probably one of the first I'm not devastated, or I'm not really missing my mom, really missing my family. I've come to peace in what I've let go, what I'm not dependent on or codependent with, or I've learned to accept things in a different way so that I don't need as much. That's now. Christmas Day, I may be feeling different because it's still the holiday. I am. For the most part, I am happy. You have to remember, I had 3 near-death experiences back in the 80s. I've worked very hard through the years to understand being a psychic and a healer, and I work hard on my insides to enjoy my life on the outside. I look for the stars. I look when there's Venus and the moon, or you see Saturn, or I watch for butterflies, or I listen for the sounds of birds in the morning. And I used to have birds in my old house. Don't have them now, but they used to wake me up, and I used to love the chirping. You got to get out of yourself. Never mind the anger and the resentment and the backstabbing and all this petty stuff. Like George, who just passed away, he just published his book, Too Hot, Cool the Gang and Me, by George Brown. It's on Amazon. You might want to get it. I'm in 3 pages. I'm in the acknowledgement. He refers to me as his friend. I was shocked. He got the book out in June. He finished another album, and he died. And I was thinking, I've got all this stuff. We all have stuff in the house. Books, awards, dolls, art, pictures, computers. Then you die. Can't take it with you. He was buried with the Star of David, even though he was Afro-American. He loved Judaism, but he loved Christianity. He loved Buddhism. He loved life. He loved people. He didn't see color. His wife is Asian. He just loved. He was a man of love and light. He was born with the veil on his head, which means a higher spiritual being was coming in back 74 years ago. It's just that he's gone. He got all this work done. He got to the top of the charts. He's won Grammys. He had been inducted in the Hall of Fame with the band, but he's gone. He's gone. So he lived his life the best he could, and he was in rehab. It's in the book. He was in rehab. Yeah, read his book, Get Too Hot, Cool the Gang and Me, by George Brown. It's a small book. I'm going to do a dedicated show to him soon. I have to speak to his wife, but it's still fresh. It was just this past Saturday, so he's gone 27 days now. And this particular passing has affected me as much as like losing my mom. It was that deep of a friendship. My mom, you know, when you lose a parent, a piece of you goes with it, even though, yes, we can hear them and feel them. But at the holidays especially. 2 days ago, the 11th of December would have been my mother's 93rd birthday. She died when I was 55. I'm now turning 70 in a month. A month from yesterday, I will be 70. I cannot believe it because it goes so fast. And there was a clip online today where George Harrison from the Beatles was talking at one point that from 17 to 60 goes so fast you don't even know how it just happens, life. So why do we have to screw it up with drugs and alcohol? Why do we have to be so depressed? Why do we have to be so lethargic? Why do we have to be so competitive? Why do we have to be so insecure that we don't belong? We're all human. No, we don't belong everywhere. Some think that they're better than thou, richer than thou, smarter than thou, more accomplished than thou. No. I get celebrities. I've had people from the White House I've consulted with psychically, spiritually. I've had people who are homeless. I helped one girl get out of her car with 3 kids and got her life together. It's people. I'm here to help. This show is primarily on addiction and how to stay sober through the holidays, but it's still about helping. It's still about just trusting God. There's something out there. There's always faith, even if it's in the darkest moment. There's always the mustard seed of just a glimmer of hope that will always carry you through. If you need help, go online or call aa.org or ca.org. All the A's for Anonymous, they're all there to help people. And not just the holidays, it's 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. There's always somebody somewhere who's been there, done that, and has their hand out to help you through the next phase, issue, trauma, whatnot. There is hope always. Candy and I have talked about some people we know where one guy's daughter is just totally addicted to heroin and refuses to admit she has a problem. The average person doesn't get loaded on heroin every day, not work, and just stay around her father. No, it doesn't work that way. That's not life. That's sick. That's the disease. That's the denial. And no matter what Candy has done and other people have done, this girl's mind is not made up yet to surrender to get well. Her day will come. hopefully. But in the meantime, all of you out there are functioning, hopefully. And if you're not, get the help you need. Don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to surrender. Oh, God, yes. I don't even want to get into that. I can't. With HIPAA laws, I'm especially not allowed to talk about it. But yes, this is a very deep, long-term situation. I have a friend up in Northern California. His daughter was in a very similar situation, but now she's 3 years sober. And he is just elated that his daughter pulled through almost near death of killing herself with drugs, to the point that she lost her children and she lost her home. I mean, devastation takes place just because the mind is gone, the thinking, the clarity, the ability to reason is gone. And what becomes more important than living life is the drug or the alcohol, or got to get the cigarettes, or got to get the fix, or got to get the cookies, or got to get the cake, or got to get the ice cream, or got to get the hamburgers, whatever, or got to get the sex, or got to go shopping, or got to go to whatever the goal is to fix the hole inside. And sometimes that hole never gets filled up. I know I got off the phone today with a client of mine. She probably does about, I don't know, I would say probably 400,000 a week. A week. I don't. But she still has the hole inside. She's still trying to fill up. She's still looking for something. She can't seem to grasp that the money and all the designer clothes and purses and shoes and cars, I don't think 13 cars is a lot for most people. Not kidding. I have one. I'm sure you only have one, but some people never get enough. That too is part of addiction, where the hole doesn't fill up. How do you fill it up? How do you smile? How do you start to have light in your eyes? I found it by surrendering to the universe and finding that there was a power greater than myself that can restore me to sanity and get me out of the old behavior of the people that I used to hang out with that either bullied me or backstabbed me or really weren't there for me as friends. And I found my own path. 3 near-death experiences and getting sober changed my life. You don't have to have near-death experiences. You just have to say, okay, I don't feel good. I would like to change. And start one baby step. One baby step. You want to lose weight? Walk. Go half a block. You don't have to do 5 miles. Take a half a block. You don't want to eat the cookie? Don't eat the cookie. You don't want to drink the bourbon? Don't drink the bourbon. You think you can't stop? Make a phone call. You can stay safe and you can stay sober from all of the addictions if you want to over these next couple of weeks, which are more testy and more vulnerable than most days of the year, really. But in the meantime, have a good time. Enjoy yourself. You want to judge somebody, fine, they're judging you, and then leave. But remember, we don't know how much time we have left in the future. The average lifespan is about 70 something. I'm now going into my 70s. I'm hoping to live into my 90s. I stay healthy the best I can, but I don't know what my fate is. Nobody knows when they're going to die. Nobody knows how or when. But in the meantime, let's enjoy it. Let's enjoy it by staying safe and staying sober the best you can. Don't hurt anybody. Watch out for them because they might be loaded. They might be driving funny. You got to watch out for yourself. And if you see somebody that looks like they may be in trouble at the party, you might want to offer them a ride home. You can talk to them, be of service. That's why I said maybe you have to be there to shine the light for someone else. That's the end of the show today, folks. I hope you have a wonderful, safe, and sober holiday if that's your thing. Otherwise, I'll be back tomorrow. You're going to love tomorrow's show where we talk about the return of Mikey. My friend Diane, who's been a client and friend for, since 1995, her son killed himself with a gun. You'll hear this whole story, but she channeled and kept records for 20 years, and then I channeled him at one point. It's in the book. So lots of books. I'm in a lot of books. I'm grateful for that. And all that came when I got sober. It's all connected. Have a great day. Tell people about this show, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.